Holy macaroni. 201 watt-hours per kilometer at 140 kilometers per hour? Ah! But at 120 I only need 144 watt-hours per kilometer? That is insane. Hello folks, welcome back. This is Spectre, Tesla Spectre. And this is a video about a quite long trip I did from Prague to Poznan in Poland. And I just wanted to share with you some of the statistics because I did two very different trips. In the first, I started with 100% charge and then ran it down to whatever it needed, which in the end showed to be 90% of the charge. So I will show you the statistics in a minute on that. And then on the way back, I had to do it quite differently for obvious reasons, because I did not have the opportunity to start with 100%. I also don't want to if I don't have to. But maybe first of all, let's start with the statistics on my way from Prague to Poznan. As I said, I already started the whole trip with 100% battery power because I calculated that should make it possible to get there without any breaks. There are different ways, obviously, to get to Poznan from Prague. The most direct one is not necessarily the fastest one because you have a lot of country road as well, as you will see later in the video. I also restrict the video completely to the one trip because I think it doesn't make much sense to show you the different highways you can see. But so for the first part of the trip, the whole distance of this trip is 443 kilometers. And as I said, it's a lot of country roads later on, and also of course some construction work on the highway. So I needed 5 hours 30 minutes. And on that trip, I restricted my maximum speed both in the Czech Republic, where the max is anyway 130, and in Poland, where it's 140, to 120 kilometers per hour. But overall, the average that I could achieve was 85 kilometers per hour, but at a whopping 149 watt-hours per kilometer consumption, which I consider to be extraordinarily effective, if you consider that. Of course, the conditions for the trip were very good. It was between 21 and 29 degrees Celsius, completely dry and sunny, as you can see. And I have to say it was a super relaxing trip. I also included here a screenshot so that you see that I don't make up the numbers. And you have to see that that way to go also means you go across quite some mountains actually. So it's not the flattest trip you could possibly take. But I think that was already, to me, pretty impressive. So factually, I arrived in Poznan with between 10 and 11. It was nearly 11% of charge left. And that means, of course, well, easy to calculate. If you have roughly 150 watt-hours per kilometer and you have 75 kilowatt-hours in the battery, that means a range of a flat 500 kilometers. Interesting here is that, however I calculated, I think it was about 1 watt-hour or so, slight difference between what the computer said and what the consumption might have been, which is odd because usually it's really 100% spot on. in any case, I thought that was already a very, very impressive result. Then, when I had to go back, the situation was different. I had charged to 80%, just also to be, more considerate with the battery at the Supercharger in Poznan. You will see that at the end of the video. Very nice location, actually. And that meant, of course, that I could not go back in one go, even not on this shorter distance. So I had to go via the one supercharger close to Wroclaw, which then meant also that it would be a longer trip. And therefore I decided to give it a try. In Poland, you have 140 kilometers speed limit, so I set it at 140 kilometers, and it's pretty much from Poznan to Wrocław, just highway. So I could go 140, for example, for a stretch of 50 kilometers really in one go without even braking. But of course, not all the time. That's what you will also see then when we have now a look at the statistics on the way back to Prague. Because that I expected to be quite different, and I simply wanted to see how much different does it make in speed versus consumption. So what is the logical decision, knowing that of course from other tests that it will be an exponential increase in consumption between lower and higher speeds. It's not linear, so in the end you always pay more for higher speed than it is worth in terms of time gain. That's clear. So first of all, the trip was longer, about 50 kilometers, 491 kilometers. It took 4 hours 23. That means an average of 91 kilometers per hour, and quite substantially higher consumption of 164 watt-hours per kilometer. One here has to know, so it's just 6 kilometers per hour quicker in the end, because of course there was also a lot of country roads then between Poland and the Czech Republic, but substantially less than on the way to Poznan. And that with 140 kilometers over long stretches in Poland. And the consumption was much higher, although the landscape, the elevation levels on that part of the road are much, much lower. It is a lot flatter. I basically went around the big mountains. So even considering that, one has to say you have to go far. So it was actually a longer trip in the end, and that's only the travel itself. That's without the charging. I'll show you a little bit about the charging later. But it was in no way even substantially quicker. 6 kilometers per hour is close to nothing. But then also on both trips I had, or especially on the way back, I had the chance to take 2 long stretches of 50 kilometers on which I could go exactly 140 kilometers in Poland, and then another stretch of 120 kilometers in the Czech Republic, of 50 kilometers in the Czech Republic, where I could go exactly spot on 120 kilometers per hour. This was also because I had some people who doubted comments I made under other videos that this car here can travel at less than 150 watt-hours per kilometer at 120 kilometers per hour. And I just wanted to check whether it is illusional or not. So there are stretches which are also extremely flat, so that's a fair comparison. And on top of it, one has to know that my car is the Model 3 long range with the 19-inch summer tires, so not the aero, and also not with these plastic flaps on it. I don't use them at all, also not in winter, simply because I think they are ugly. So I think the key question at this point is, what makes more sense? Going quickly or going rather slow at least for many people in Germany. So, well, here is the data. So you can see that at 140 kilometers per hour, the car consumed exactly over an average, as an average over 50 kilometers, 201 watt-hours per kilometer. First of all, I think that is a pretty good result for 140 kilometers per hour. I think that is pretty amazing, actually. But still, of course, that's quite a lot. And as you've seen, that of course also influenced the overall average on that trip, because we have seen that it was at 164. So that's when you go really quick. Yeah, and now let's have a look how it is at a speed of 120 kilometers an hour. Again, over a distance of 50 kilometers. And look at that. This car really consumed 144 watt-hours per kilometer over a stretch of 50 kilometers at a constant 120 kilometers per hour speed. I truly think that that is so far maybe even unbeatable by any other EV on the market. But I would like to see your comments on that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe if you have this Hyundai Ioniq, not the 5, maybe that one is as efficient. Maybe others are. Let me know. I'm really curious. Then I just compare now these two stretches rather than the long trips. And over 50 kilometers, the average speed is 16% faster with 140. But the consumption is a whopping 39% larger. So actually you have an efficiency gap of 23%. If you combine consumption versus time gained, there's a gap of 23%. So factually, it is 23% more ecological, you might want to say, more efficient to go rather 120 than 140. On the other hand, one also has to say, if you like to go a bit quicker, 140 is a totally acceptable speed for this car, because with an average of 200, that still leaves you with a range that is, let me just quickly calculate, that's a range of 375 kilometers. Of course, under summer conditions, but at 140 kilometers. I've seen a lot of EVs in tests by, for example, Newland or others, which manage that distance in summer at 100, 120 kilometers, some even only at 90 to 100, and with same size batteries. So if you love efficiency, that is definitely the way to go. But also I have to say, in terms of comfort while traveling, I don't know why everybody thinks it's a hard suspension car or something. Well, I mean, it has 460 horsepower. It's quick as hell if you want to. So it has to have a stiff suspension to some extent. But I drove a Mercedes C220 diesel before, which was a really comfortable car. And it was in no means more, softer or something when driving at all. And that was so much less efficient, even though it only took 6 liters. So I don't know. I mean, I do these 5-hour trips. I get out of the car and I feel like I just stepped into the car. I don't know what more I want. And that kind of real life range between 375 when you go at 140, or something like 500 kilometers when you go 120, that is more than enough for me, because honestly then I need to take a break. Also, I travel most of the time with my dog, and that also needs a break now and then. So for me, those are absolutely fantastic statistics for my purposes.
Hi folks, so I just wanted to show you here, this is the one supercharger that you have in Poznan, actually over there. It is not huge, but it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stalls, you see there. And what is really fantastic, there's cucina next to it. There's a whole shopping area and really nice relaxing area around it. Not like in Berstetal, where they put the superchargers in the absolute middle of nowhere next to a hospital. And you have absolutely nowhere to go. You see, this is really nice, and that's the restaurant where I was.
Some charging stats. This is a V2 charger. So at the beginning it was at 147 kilowatt charging speed, dropped to 117 at around 46, 100 at 50. Then it went below the 100s, but it stayed pretty cool until 80, so the classical development.
Hey folks, this is Spectre, Tesla Spectre. I'm on my way back to Prague from Poznan, and I stop here at the supercharger in Kostomloty. And actually this is a quite good position. I mean, the problem is it's the old chargers and only 4 of them. So you always share, which of course reduces the speed maximally. But there is a quite nice station, gas station, with a quite nice restaurant actually, where I just stopped by right now. So I think this is actually a good stopover when you come, for example, from the Czech Republic. But here is also the white one is a German Tesla, and these are the Model S's from Norway. So actually that's a good stopover on your way either to Wroclaw or to Warsaw. Quite good actually.
So I hope you liked it, and if you did, please give me a like and also subscribe. That would be fantastic. You can also check out some of my other videos, for example the accident with a deer and how much that damaged my car. Have a good time. Bye.